judging me from the corner. I can see you, the little munchkin. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Christy Tina. Are you over here? There we go. Zeno.
Here.
Mine's angled because my camera's not straight on, so I have to like point this way to point to you. It's interesting. Anyway.
Completely opposite of what I'm looking at on my screen.
Yep. Did I say Tina? Or did I say Christy?
Yep.
Christy! Sorry. I was looking at Discord with her message, so that's probably what I did. Well, hello to Tina,
Christy,
too, who's not here, but Christy, who is here. Hi, Christy.
Morning.
Hi, Lunis. I'm actually kind of cold in this office. Guess who's here? She's not on camera. Here, you want to come up? Here. Come here. Okay.
She's like,
we have
yeah.
We have a
Thomas.
Daisy down here.
How have
Papa
you been?
Mozzie's here too. Hello. We'll be traveling here soon.
Oh.
Flying back in tomorrow.
Oh,
How do you enjoy your trip? How's Daisy Fluff? Daisy Fluff is going through some withdrawals. Papa Mozzie's not here. Mama Mozzie's not here, so she's just stuck with me. She's been whimpering.
She's like, you're bored.
She doesn't like anyone being gone. Come here. You want a treat? Treat.
Oh. Like Appa. Appa just like he just lays there when
You gotta
everyone
come.
else is gone.
Come say hi. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Come on.
Oh,
There you
golf,
go.
huh?
Come on.
Yeah, my dad's a big golfer.
There she is.
Pretty much all he does.
You can see her on Discord so much more than everyone else can. There she is. Hi, you. Hi. Okay, you're running away now.
He's
Sure,
like,
why
I've
not?
had enough.
Yep. She's met her quota. Good trip. Good to hear. Good to hear. Excited to see you tomorrow. Hope you have a safe flight. Quick trip. Quick hop, skip, and a jump back home. No, Daisy's doing well. She's doing good. She's crazy as ever. She's found her favorite toy and likes to take it around everywhere, and assumes that if she drops it in your lap at your feet, it's playtime. So I'll just wake up to her chew toy just being like right beside me, and I'm like, okay. And she's just staring at me like, throw it, throw it, please. Hey, happy Star Trek Day. No.
Star Wars?
Yeah, I know. I'm just triggering people.
You triggered me instantly. Oh my goodness.
No, I've never seen Star Wars.
May the 4th be with you.
That's today. He's trying to annoy us. I do. I'm more a Star Wars person than a Star Trek person, but I never got into either of them, really. That's all. I mean, I've seen the Star Wars movies that count. How many of the new ones? Do any of the new ones hold up? I don't really know.
Like what? Like no.
Yeah, the new ones. Yeah, I don't. The Disney ones. Rogue One was good.
Rogue One was great. That's the only one. And then everything else was just kind of like, okay, is it gonna be good? It could be good. And then they were like, it's not good. And that was the rest of the story. Just some terrible, disjointed, disconnected things that somebody was trying to force together.
Nice.
With
I
the
love
force.
Noodle, what's up, baby?
What's up, Noodle?
Yeah, we're in grave peril now. Exactly. The first 5 chapters of this book are so good. I also don't know if it's because I was listening to it on audio, but my God.
I think the jump, because in 2 he still kind of did a bit more recappiness, and in this one it's just like, nah, let's go. Boosh.
Yeah, no, it really was.
We're in.
I guess we should do the thing. Hi, my name is Wolfman Mozzie, and I'm a
Zeno.
gameaholic. This is a series where we go through, read books, and we talk about them. And this is our Dresden Files series, which we're on book 3, Grave Peril, by Jim Butcher. And everyone says that this is where it really pops off. So Marster kills it. Oh my God, he does. He so does. this is where the story properly starts, man. Marsters is the man. Yeah, he really is. He really is. Absolutely so good. He well, okay, we'll get to it in a bit. I don't want to. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? Starting in chapter 1, like you said, it just pops off immediately. We are introduced to a new character. We have Harry and Michael that are speeding down the highway in the Blue Beetle, which he does recap a little bit, like wizards and technology don't mix. That he usually is a very, very careful driver because his car constantly breaks down. But tonight's a different story. That love Michael. Yeah, Michael's really cool. That they're just blaring down the highway, freeway, whatever, heading towards the hospital. It's almost sundown. Bob gave Harry a lead on a ghost, because apparently the ghost activity has been super high recently, but they don't know why. Also, if this is a little different than a normal recap, this is because I am listening to the audiobook now, so I'm not going line by line and highlighting stuff. I'm just recapping it in my own words. So if I do miss something, Zeno, obviously just stop me and jump in.
Right. I will try. No guarantees if I don't miss it too.
And to everyone in chat too, if we miss something, you're like, hey, that's kind of important, please let us know, because I will probably miss it. Because I listened to all 5 chapters and then went back and took notes, so I probably missed some things. But they're in the car together. They're driving down the highway. Michael starts to ask Harry something, and he's like, I swear if you ask me to mass again, well, I mean, you should, and I should ask you again, but no, not this time. And he starts asking Harry if he's gonna marry Susan. Harry's just like, what are you talking about? Where is this coming from? He's like, well, you love her, don't you? And he's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. It's very like felt very high school, like very teenager-ish.
Did you tell her? Did you tell her you love her?
Well, I didn't have to tell her. She knows. But did you say it? Did you say it out loud? And then they like bullet past a cop and his lights go on. He's like, no, don't worry about the cop, answer the question, Harry. Do you love her? And he eventually is like, yeah, I love her. It's like, see, that wasn't so hard. And then he almost is like just kind of like poking fun at Harry, which kind of gives us a little bit of a perspective of what their relationship's like, because we don't know anything about Michael. We don't know how long they've known each other, like if they're co-workers, if he's from the White Council, or what, or maybe he's just some random dude, but probably not where they're going. And the fact that they're hunting a ghost.
He's said that he's a knight, so
he did, yeah, he did say
that's interesting, because now we got another type that's more of like an old school thing that's here in the modern day.
God. Yeah. I thought that was kind of interesting, because which we don't know if it's part of like a subsection of the White Council, or if their own entity or something. Do not hit the.
And they're alluding to him being a religious man. Obviously, he's some sort of holy knight, like a crusader, I would say. But
they've been battling weirdo stuff lately. Did they say that already? I can't remember if they said it this early, that they've been battling stuff together. I know they do a little later, but
he's been with them doing this whole spiel, I guess, with the ghosts. Okay. And it's like, this is old hat at this point, it sounds like.
They mention it. All right, cool. Because he mentions it in another, I think, chapter 3 as well. But we'll get there in a second. And then they pull up into. Michael does bring up. This actually gives a little bit of a either clue of how old their friendship goes back, or a partnership, worker relationship, co-worker, or whatever, or maybe just Michael's insight to Harry. You're fine, okay?
Like, I don't think he would have told anybody about her, like, especially like a newer. So he's definitely known him for a while.
He brings up Elaine, which we know is Harry's ex, who is in some sort of cahoots with his old master, who tried to turn Harry's powers to the dark side, and he ended up killing his master. Like, we know. And as soon as he says her name, Harry's just like, do not say her name, or we don't, or I don't talk about it. I think, or talk about her.
Or get
He shuts him down
out my
immediately.
car. He's
Yeah, something like that.
Oh. He's upset, but probably most upset because he swore.
Oh yeah, true. He doesn't like people swearing. But at this point, they kind of like screech into the hospital, and Butcher. Yes, exactly. With the morsel tidbit, always giving us little crumbs. They screech into Cook County Hospital, which I love this scene so much. They're like, well, I assumed to like the emergency entrance or something like that, but they screech exactly in, slam.
Says, yeah.
Is that what it says? Okay.
Yeah.
Slams on the brakes. They get out of the car. They get this, like, Michael gets his cloak, his white cloak with the red cross, which is like he's a knight of some sort of Templar crusade kind of thing. And Harry grabs his freshly made blasting wand, wizard staff, and a small leather pouch, which he holds with his teeth. Marston's read of this next line with the thing in his mouth is so good, because it sounded perfect. It sounded like something was in his mouth. Anyway, and he grabs an orderly. He's like, "Hello, can you point me to the nursery?" It's just like, yes. But that's the end of chapter 1. Just kind of give you, like you said, it throws you right in the middle of it immediately. I mean, it's not like it's building the tension. There's not like any fighting or anything going on in the first chapter, but it builds a tension, a sense of urgency of wherever they're going and whatever they're handling this big baddie with, or what kind of creature they're fighting.
Now they.
Oh no, we know. We know it's a
ghost.
ghost. Yeah, we know it's a ghost. And they mentioned the nursery, so it's some sort of spooky ghost going after kids.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
And then I think this may have been why I like ended chapter 5 and I was like, I have one more chapter to go, and I was like, oh wait, no, I don't.
I know, and it stops at like a really hard stop. Yeah.
Because I thought these 2 chapters like just were one chapter. They flowed together so well. But that was the end of chapter 1. Going in chapter 2, they're well, Michael is just like hiking up the stairs like 2 steps at a time, just and here comes Harry around the corner. He's like, oh god. But I think it's on the 4th floor if I remember correctly, but they go up to the 4th floor where the nursery is, and I mean, like, I feel like everyone's been to a hospital in certain sort of capacity. It's not bustling per se, but there are people moving in and out, moving around the hospital. It's lively in a sense. But as soon as they get to the 4th floor where the nursery is, he says it's like a graveyard. It's the shadows are like stretched and longer. It's silent. Oh, I just smacked Daisy in the face. It's silent. It's no one's in sight line. They don't see anyone when they approach it, and I think Harry lights a candle like before they go in, and as soon as go ahead.
The lights in the outer hall are flickering, but then the hallway that they go down is just completely black, like all the lights are out.
Right.
It's got that candle, but then the candle, I guess, is some identifying ghost thing because it like turns blue, I guess. So
yes. When he steps in, the candle it burns down to like a really small glow, like there's constant wind on or something, and it does turn blue. You're right. It's like an action movie beginning. It really is. Don't you look at me? Oh, those beautiful eyes, puppy dog eyes. I know. And Harry immediately says, the ghost is here. And Michael, I'm very interested in Michael and his whole situation, and his sword, of course, because he draws his sword, Amaracus, and it's like this. I don't think it has any engraving in it, but it's a very shiny steel sword that Dresden said like
spike in the hilt.
Oh, is there? I missed that part. Okay. It radiates faith and the energy of faith, much like Michael does, he said, because where Harry like radiates what's the word, arcane magic in nature, Michael has more of a faith kind of magic. I always equate it to arcane versus divine magic, like in D&D, how there's separate schools of magic. One is based from
I'd say,
teachings, learning, knowledge, the arcane, and then the divine one is religious faith, your belief in a divine power, and the divine power lending its power to you.
He mentioned later, actually, faith magic when he's talking to the girl, but
he does. Yes, he does. I bring that back up when we get there because I don't remember if I've added notes, but we'll get to that. But he it kind of touches on that faith magic because Harry tells Michael to wait back because the ghost is going to be able to sense you from a mile away, just that divine radiating power. So Harry, bless you, Harry proceeds on, finds the you okay? She has the hiccups. He finds the nurses and the nurse station. What's going on with you? One moment, please.
Yeah, go ahead. Completely unadorned, pure function. Though it's possible that we may have been designed on the crossguard or hilt, have worn away over time. That's how it's described. Nice. My problem was, so while I was listening to it, I fell asleep. So I skipped over a few chapters, got to 7, and then I heard more about the sword a little bit when I woke up, and I was like, what chapter am I on? And it was 7, and I was like, okay, I gotta start over. So I know some things about the sword, at least, that I shouldn't yet. No, I'm not saying anything. But I don't know what happens in the build-up at the end. The end is pretty good, so. But yeah, I don't know. The Michael character seems pretty cool so far. We got a lanky wizard, and we got our stuff happens. Exactly, stuff happens. We'll see. How are they gonna get out of that sticky situation? Because that's a cliffhanger we stopped at. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you guys are enjoying the Dresden Files. Try not to go on without them. So pretty much where we would want to go on to the next part. Those 2 dudes in the VW bug. Yeah, exactly. I just imagine like that one guy in The Simpsons where he's like, this is the biggest car I could have afforded, and he gets out and he's like 8 feet tall, and he's like, and his knees are like up to his head when he's driving. Like, I mean, it's not that extreme, obviously. And then Michael sounds like he's a big dude too, because his knees are pressed up against, the dashboard. Some big boys, and he's a knight, so I just imagine kind of like the football player build on him. I don't know. Sounds like a cool dude. Like the guy in The Incredibles, this tiny commuter car. Oh yeah, exactly. I love Mr. Incredible. Just that would be just that's like my favorite power though, is just to be like super strong, like super strength. Because if you think about it, from all the aspects you have to have, like you are almost unstoppable. Like your body has to be strong enough to withstand all the forces you can put out. Right. So you're not going to take anything.
Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
Mr. Where do we leave off?
So they were about to go into the room with the ghost. Yeah.
Yes. So. Oh yeah. So he finds the nurse. The nurse is asleep with a magical sleep. Which I thought was interesting. Like he saw a knocked over chair and he goes to pick it up to sit down and take a nap, and he's like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I shouldn't be doing that. I got business to take care of." Which means that magical lullaby was pretty strong for him to almost succumb to it as well.
Little singing there that she's doing.
Oh yeah, she's singing "Hush, Little Baby."
Mm-hmm.
It's very creepy. It is a very, very creepy, especially in this context, very creepy. But he approaches, sees the ghostly woman, who he remarks is like being there, but not being there. Is like transparent, like he can see her, but he can see straight through her, to the baby sleeping on the other side, and sleeping on the other side, that she is singing this lullaby to. And he says, I don't know if we know the full name of the ghost until now, but he says there's Agatha Hagglethorne. Agatha Hagglethorne, yep. From the turn of the 19th century Chicago look to her, which we learn is when she died. We learn a little more detail in a bit. But he says, she's singing to the child. Harry has the leather sack of ghost dust, which he describes can pin her down. If he can use it effectively. Would you get off the cord, please? Pulling everything off the desk. Goofball. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. That is your cord, not mine. How silly am I? But she's singing to this child as. Would you stop hitting the keyboard? She's singing to this child, and hang on, I gotta scroll back up. And he sees the child stop breathing. That she has like this magical hold over the child, and is essentially like is sucking the life force out of the child. And there's actually, I think there's 2 children in this room. Or maybe just multiples. I don't remember if he says the amount. But Harry says that in order to like interact with the ghost, the ghost needs to acknowledge him, or it's really hard to interact with her at all. So the ghost dust will be kind of useless. So he addresses her by name, and she finally sees him, and she asks if Benson sent him. Benson's always playing tricks on her and calling a mad woman. And Harry says no. Yeah. Harry says no. You aren't here. You're dead. Benson Hagglethorne, your husband, is dead. Your child is dead. These are not your children, which enrages her. And that's when the children kind of start crying, and it just kind of adds to like the chaos of her rage. And she said, no, that's right, I killed Benson. And she pulls out her hand, which is like a stump, and then like a magical axe forms like above it. It's very creepy. Or hatchet, excuse me. Because then she says she gave him 20 whacks. Yes. And so I'm assuming she murdered him with an axe, and then cut her own hand off, is why she's stumpoed. But anyway, it doesn't say anything. It's because she smothered her child. He describes that Benson came home. I think he said came home drunk and raged or whatever, and her baby was crying. This is when she died. This is the axe of her death. And this is worried. Yeah, he didn't want. Yep, he didn't want him to hurt the baby, so she tried to hush the baby, and she accidentally smothered the baby, and then she blamed her husband, killed him with the hatchet, and then killed herself, which I'm guessing probably she cut off her hand and then it was blood loss. It's the 19th century, so you cut off your hand and hit a major artery, they're not gonna save you. I could, but she probably didn't look for help. Right. They couldn't save you as fast as they would today. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And they wouldn't have had blood on hand, probably. No. Like that. Probably not. Probably not. One other thing that to note was to talk to the ghost, he had to infuse his words with magic, so he had to use his will. Did. That's true. Yep, I forgot about that. Little magic, because she is a magical creature, so makes sense. Then she lunges for him, and he's able to get the ghost dust in her arm. It was in the hatchet arm, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It was one of the arms. Ectoplasm. It froze. It locked her in place, and then she, with her own power or willpower, ripped it off. She ripped it off, yeah, to get away from it. And then, it turned to ectoplasm.
And that was because Michael came in, right? Like Michael came in and like caught the axe with his sword, and
yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he caught the axe with the sword, and it gave Harry time to thrust it in. That's exactly. And then when she ripped it off, she retreated and disappeared. And all the kids stopped breathing. They could hear her like still singing. They thought she left, and then she found it. Okay.
Oh my.
We're done. You just sit over there. The kids started crying, and her lullaby kicked back in, and all of them stopped breathing. And I think it was Harry, or maybe both of them. No, it was Harry, because he said that Michael asked where she went, and Harry was like, she retreated to the Never Never. And Michael's like, we have to chase after her. And he's like, probably not a good idea, because it's her home ground. She's going to be stronger. So if she doesn't, she most certainly will kill us. And if she doesn't, my godmother will. And we're like, this is the first time hearing about a godmother. I mean, unless I'm wrong, I don't think he's mentioned anything about any of his family.
No idea about this. At least on my side, no mention of this godmother, who's in the Never Never apparently, and
yeah, and he's afraid of her, and he's not afraid of much. So it also makes you wonder, like, what's a wizard godparents? Like, we know what godparents are in terms of us, but what is it to a wizard?
So. Yeah, I would assume similar, whoever. So his father was dead, his mom was dead. These people took him in, which trained him in magic, and we have no other real context. So.
No, we really don't. But he's terrified of her, and if she lives in the Never Never, she is magical in some means, whether it's not a wizard, but a sorceress, whatever the
spirit world. Yeah, like what in the world? Like, okay.
But regardless of how afraid he is, Michael's convinces him that he needs to go in to save these children. So he's like, all right, well, screw it, we're going in. Oh yeah, and he says, what does he say? He says, oh yeah, he's like, okay, we'll continue, we'll go after her. And Michael says that God will smile upon this choice. And he's like, well, just ask him not to Sodom and Gomorrah my apartment. And Michael's like,
I thought that was
distasteful.
That's so good.
So I thought that was funny. It reminds me a lot of, in a different way, it reminds me of Murphy and Dresden. Just their banter, how they banter back and forth. But Michael's obviously from a different place.
And Michael's like, he doesn't even ask about like the whole godmother. Like, I feel like he's just got so much history. He's just like, right, yeah, like
he probably knows about it.
Heard about it, already, and knows. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
If he knows about Elaine, like, it's not too far off that he knows about his godmother, or at least, like, maybe of his godmother, not like familiar with, but yeah, that's the end of chapter 2, and then we Quentin Tarantino it and go back to the beginning,
back in time. Shoo.
Which I was wondering if we were going to, because it didn't, like, it started off in the middle. At least it felt like it started off in the middle, but we know enough about Michael to like warrant that. Like, we don't know everything about Michael, but we know, okay, like, he's man of faith, he's a knight, he is helping Dresden fight, the evil. But now we're gonna go back and see kind of where it started.
Reminds you of party checks. Dresden or Michael does not approve.
Yep. Michael will remember this. Hey, what's up, Mustafa? How you doing? So yeah, now we're flashback in Harry's office, which I was telling Zeno, I have like 8 lines of notes for this section or this chapter, because it's not that it's not important, but it's just kind of a lot of what we already know. Like, it explains and describes Harry's office, which in my mind is very like L.A. Noire detective, like the single ceiling fan whirling, and it's like dark and like kind of smoky room, plain desk, lots of wood, lots of brown colors, kind of and he's got the pamphlets obviously at the front. Sorry, 1 second, I gotta read this.
Mhm. Oh, they're handwritten right above me.
I can't hear it if they are.
Oh, good. Okay. Put the solar panels back on.
You can hear that one. But that's the first one that I've heard. Okay. Where was I? Sorry, I'm getting very distracted. Harry's office with the pamphlets at the front. Why witches float just like everyone else. Something along that is a title of one of them, which is my favorite. So close to being done.
Yeah, almost done. Yeah,
almost done. Yeah.
The house. Yeah, they're just wrapping up. Really, it looks good. I got a before and after for you guys.
Oh, this is why. Yeah. Okay. So we get that. Harry's sorting through some mail. He sees a check from the city from a job that him and Michael completed for the LAPD. He said it was cultists, if I remember, some nasty business with demons and human sacrifices. He did most of the leg work, but Michael was accompanying him for what he called the finale. Where I think Michael was handling the demon while Harry was handling the wizard or dark wizard or something. Either way, they finish the job together and they're getting paid for it. When Susan calls, and it kind of reintroduces their relationship through a conversation, which is so good. Because we already know about Susan. We know their love interests. Even in this book, we know that he loves her, and but we get to see more of the playfulness side in this conversation, which we've seen in previous books. But Harry stood her up for a date the other night. She was not salty about it, but she was gonna get even either way. And she pretends, no, it's a work call, and I'm here for, the scoop or whatever. But for those of you who don't know, Susan's a reporter. She's a reporter for the Archive? No. Arcana? Arcane. It's a trash tabloid that does like supernatural stuff. And Elvis she puts in. But they go back and forth, and he tells her about like what job he was working on, and a particular case that they just closed up with a creature in the base of a university or something like that. He gives her the details, and they agree on a rendezvous. Chicago PD. Did I say LA? Sorry, Chicago.
I didn't even catch that. Yeah.
I didn't even. LA. I did. I said LAPD instead of the CPD, Chicago PD. Right. What are you crunching on? Okay. I believe that's part of a bone. Midwestern Arcane. Yeah, okay. Is the paper she works for. But they agreed on a meeting at his place or wherever, and then they kind of hang up and go their separate ways. He does mention that the supernatural activities are abnormally high, and she asks him if he's checked some seasonal lead or some leads that she gave him, and he said no, he hasn't yet, but Bob is doing his own sort of research for him. And Harry starts to close down the shop after he hangs up with her when, he hears someone coming from the elevator, which is funny because he did describe the elevator earlier. It's just like, it's back in order, even though the people were really salty that someone destroyed it. And he's like, but I argue if you have a scorpion the size of a basset hound or something chasing you, then it doesn't really matter. But it was just a nod to the previous book. But a woman comes out of the elevator. I didn't actually get any description of her. I didn't write it down. Do you remember anything of note of what she looks like? Flirtatious that we see that a little bit, but no like physical features that I remember.
I feel like there was, and my brain didn't register it. I
was gonna say mine either. So if there was any details,
yeah, I think the next part with her like just disrupted my brain.
Same.
And that's what the all brain thing. Think, I was like, whoa, she's really coming on to him.
Yeah, way too hard. Well, yeah. So she comes up. She asks if he's Harry Dresden. He says yes, but he's closing up shop. And she touches him, and he can immediately, almost like a pop, can sense her like magical presence. And he's like, whoa, okay, you're a practitioner. And she's like, yes. And he's like, okay, now I'm intrigued. Come in the office. Let's talk. No, sorry. He grabbed her, and he feels the pop, and he says, you're a practitioner. She says yes. He's like, okay, well, I can give you lessons, whatever. We can schedule that later. And she's like, no, that's not what I'm here for. I need some protection. If you won't help me, then I don't think I'll live through the night. And then that's where the chapter ends. So I felt like that chapter, I think the chapter was shorter than the others, but it was even shorter so because we got a lot of information that we kind of already knew. So, so short chapter. But we go into chapter 4 with this woman. He lets her in because he's now intrigued, and here's her story. And he says that
your girl needs help.
Yeah, that comes up a lot. That his chivalry and his want to just wrap her in a blanket, give her a cup of cocoa, and give her a protection bracelet, comes up a couple times. But she says that she needs his protection. Sorry. Harry says, if you want my protection, I want a few things from you first. And that's when she goes immediately into hottie toddy mode, or she thinks he's asking for spicy flavors.
I think he's asking like pay some sort of payment, and she's like, oh, I'll pay you.
Yeah, and that's basically not what he's asking at all. And he's like, whoa, settle down, woman. Though props, but no, that's not what I want. And she's like, are you he's like, gay? No, I'm not gay. I'm just not buying what you're selling. And he's like,
heard of STDs?
Yeah. Have you not heard of STDs? She's like, well, if not that, what do you want to know? And he's like, well, oh my God, you sound pitiful. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You will survive. Don't worry. Magical tinge when she... Yeah, when she grabbed him, he felt, you're fine, settle down. He felt the magic. Or was there another magical twin that I miss? Tingle.
I'm not sure.
When she touched him, I know he sensed magic then. But he's like, well, your name to start with. And she's like, I'm not gonna give you that. I know
Black
it.
Girl in a black knit dress, combat boots. Yeah, that's okay. I remember
right.
the boots, yeah.
That's right. Her hair was dyed matte black. That's right. Because I remember now that when I read that description, or I was like, that's very typo negative. That's very goth. And I was like, okay, noted. And I immediately forgot. Yeah, he said she was a practitioner. Yep. Okay. But there's kind of this back and forth where like he's trying to get information out of her, and she really doesn't want to give him anything, which is kind of weird. Just immediately. Sorry. I'm gonna turn down the music a little bit. It's very loud. You're typing from the book. Nice. But yeah, she wants a talisman to protect her from hostile spirits. But Dresden's like, he's almost learned his he's trying to learn his lesson. He's like, okay, why should I believe anything she's saying? Because even though I really want to help her, from like you said, the chivalry side, but like, I need more information. It could be like that she upset a angelic spirit or something, or did something wrong, and that or maybe she made a deal with a demon and she's trying to get out of it. Like, I need to know more details before I can help her. And then she gives up a little bit, saying, "Have you ever heard of Cassandra's tears?" He's like, "Yes, I've heard of it. It's it is not a symptom. It's like a fortune teller, or not a visionary. What is the word?
Seer?
Yeah, she can see the future essentially. But this particular one is not very clear. Like, the dreams they're very cryptic. They come with
prophetic condition. Yes.
Yes, prophetic condition is what he says. That's right. Thank you. But they're not very clear. They're very cryptic or exaggerated in a way that a lot of people would find it unbelievable. So it's really hard to, well, one, it's hard to prove, because you can't just like, boom, your future is this. It comes in random dreams. And two, it may be misinterpreted a lot of time from what it sounds like. But she says that she was visited by 3 spirits. Now, granted, I don't know if this is just the way it works, or if this is just the way hers works in particular, but she said she's been visited with 1 spirit and 2 spirits before, and she gives examples like a NASA mishap, and like an earthquake where she was visited by 2 spirits. When the president was assassinated, she was visited by 1, or maybe there was an attempt on his life. I don't remember which. But she's never been visited by 3 spirits, and she's scared for her life. And Harry is thinking like, okay, well, this is like, she can't prove this. And maybe she might know that she can't prove this, so it's the perfect cover, and maybe that she's trying to swindle him. And while doctors mistake it for epilepsy. Exactly. Prescribed medicine, yeah. And while he's thinking this, she also pipes in like, "Oh, you must be thinking like, this is the perfect con because, it can't be proven and all that." And he's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Spot on." And eventually he just says that, "I think you're overreacting. How about you come to me tomorrow and we'll talk about options or whatever." And she's just defeated, and she just kind of just thanks him for his time and goes to leave. And as she's leaving, good guy Dresden couldn't help himself. He's like, "All right, wait." Oh yeah,
in this
that
bracelet.
I think he's destroyed 2 of them so far. I know at least 1.
I don't know if this is his shield bracelet, because he still shields himself when he's
that's true
in the other realm. So it's some sort of protection against specters, I guess, specifically, but it's like really hard to put together.
It's also new to him too.
Yeah,
from what he said, or well, new-ish, I guess. But yeah, I know he slaps it is still a bracelet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bracelet.
Okay, he slaps the bracelet on there, pumps a little magic into it to pop. Great quote from this. That's your
Iowa has less corn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Iowa has less corn. I forgot about that. Yeah, he activates the bracelet for her to protect her, and he says that if she feels threatened, if she feels like she's in danger, to go to Saint Mary of Angels, go to the service door, knock on it, ask for someone, I don't remember his name, and tell him that Michael's friend sent you, and that she will be safe there. Then she thanks him and then leaves, and he also gives her money too. He's like, "Here's some money, go take a taxi. Don't dwindle, because the spirits are most powerful the witching hour, the beginning of nightfall, and then right before sunrise."
That's
right. And it's getting close, so he's like, "Take a taxi, go. Like, don't dawdle."
And Chris reminds, when he put the bracelet on her arm, she had deep cuts in her arm.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That she had been cutting up her wrist on the.
He says the
veins.
kind of scars that one gets when they're very serious about not being. He also said, like, judging from the scar damage, she must have been like 10, maybe younger.
Yeah,
That's intense. Thank you, Christy, because I did completely forget about that. This faith magic works best against spirits. Yeah, that's when, like you were saying earlier, they talked about faith magic. This is where it comes up again. Yeah. Which is cool. I actually really like. Have we encountered faith magic at all in the first 2 books? I don't think so. Not like this by any means.
Not at all. I don't think there was any mention of it whatsoever in the other ones.
Well, there was mention of there's the power in belief, like how Dresden wore the pentacle.
Yeah,
if he wore
true.
a cross, it would be absolutely useless for him because he
Yeah,
doesn't
because he didn't
believe.
believe in it. Yeah, that's true. Very true.
But other than that, like, we haven't gotten this much detail about like the divine and stuff like that. So it's very cool to see. There's like different types of magic. His amulet, yeah, exactly. His amulet against the Alpha Lupi showed his particular, and against Bianca. Yep. Very true. Very true.
Guess that
So,
is faith magic. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
faith in
believe
a
in it,
different
yeah.
thing. So
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't think of it as that way. I feel like I was thinking like holy scripture belief faith, you know, that kind of faith
Yeah.
only. But no, he believes in that object. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Right.
yeah. And his faith, exactly. What was? Oh yeah. So then he goes to leave, and he's going to head. Oh no, I'm sorry. I missed something. 1 second. Because he doesn't leave yet. She leaves. Yeah, she leaves, and as she does, and he's kind of reflecting on how much a fool he's been for giving her this bracelet, because he's like, well, she could have been sent by some sort of spirit to take this bracelet from him, and now he's vulnerable. Like, he's just like kind of mulling it all over in his head, and his phone rings, and he answers it, and there's a bunch of static, which isn't unusual for him.
It's a radio, right? Like,
not yet. That's with Bob. The phone rings
okay,
first.
That's
and there's like static, and which, like I said, it's not unusual for him because wizards like are big technology janky. But he hears a voice on the other side coming, like a kind of a ghostly, eerie voice, kind of crackling through the static, and it says, soon Dresden, we will see one another again. And then the line disconnects, and he does like that thing where you get scared or you hear something scary and you talk to yourself out loud, and he's like, that wasn't creepy.
And he did the thing exactly like I thought he would, where he looks at the phone afterwards and then hangs it up, you know, because you like,
yeah,
you hear it and then it hangs, like, and then you look at the phone, and then you hang it up. I'm just like, yeah,
it was so funny. And as he's like, kind of like, what the hell was that? Then the radio comes on, and that's Bob. The radio isn't tuned to FM or AM; it's tuned to the spiritual channel. No, it's a modified radio that I don't know if just Bob can communicate or if it's just spirits can communicate through there. Not sure how that works, but it's Bob telling him about Agatha Hagglethorne and the hospital, and that's when he goes to leave, and he's like, I should swing by and get Michael. And as Michael's coming in, and he's like, oh, I was just about to like go get you, and he's like, yes, I know, the Lord has brought me here. And he's like, what, really? And he's like, well, I mean, you've asked for my help every other day this week, so I figured I'd save the trouble and just come check to see if you need me. I thought it was kind of funny.
That was great. I love that his VS, like, the where I'm needed.
Yeah.
I
thought I'd give the old man a break in, you know, trying to let fate mingle each other, and I'll just come over and see if you need me. It was funny. Oh, jeez. Smack her head on the bottom of the desk.
She's so excited.
She's very excited. She just doesn't want to be in this room.
Yes.
Sometimes she doesn't mind being in this room, but today she is just not having it.
Yeah.
Child crawled neatly down. Oh yeah, the chill. Did I say child? Chill. Resident somewhere a little lower on the stomach. Yep. That was from the phone call.
Very cool. Yeah, so
But
that's
they both leave and head over to the hospital, and that's when we teleport back. Yep. So we're back in the hospital, and that's the end of chapter 4. In chapter 5, well, no, we're not back in the hospital, excuse me. We're in the Never Never now. They finish the... Where did you move that bone? Okay, that disappeared. They're now in the Never Never, which I thought was very interesting. I'm still a little curious and confused on how the Never Never works, because this Never Never, at least where they are currently, is like Agatha's Never Never. Like it's everything, like it's her memory, her what's the word? Did I write it down? Let me see.
It's like her version of the city back in the
Thank you.
day with like the Edison bulbs and like the 1920s, I guess, you know.
But it's a little twisted. Like it's not like right. It's kind of like everything's like in shadow and it just doesn't look quite right. But it definitely have that 19th century feel to it. And as soon as they get to the Never Never, the ghost dust becomes unbelievably heavy, to the point where it sets Harry off balance. And he does remark that the ghost dust in here may rip a hole through like time and space. Like it's not meant to be used here. It's meant to... You're fine. Hey. It's meant to be used in like the real world, not in here. So it can be very different effects if he uses it here. I also find it funny because Michael's like, yeah, stop. He was like, I never asked what was in that dust. Harry just kind of flat out says, depleted uranium. He's like, what? I'm sorry, what now? He's like, yeah, depleted uranium. At least that's the base. There's also some cold iron, basil, dung from and then Michael cuts him off. He's like, you know what? I don't really want to know. Thank you.
Yeah. I love that.
I was not expecting depleted uranium.
Right? I thought he was going to say, I'm just kidding. After he said that, I was like, depleted uranium? Oh, for reals? Yeah, for reals.
Like, really? Oh, shit. Yeah, they followed her back. They followed her into the Never Never. Yeah. But I'm not sure if like there's like different pockets of Never Never or...
It seems that way from what Christy said. It's, at least this is where she went in, is what she said.
Okay.
So followed her into this section. So there could be, there's a lot of variables and a lot of things that we have no idea at this point. Yeah,
no, it's again those breadcrumbs. Yeah, Chris.
I see you, Christy.
I'll never tell. But they're here. They're kind of on edge. They're looking for her, and they're kind of trying to decide what to do. And Harry is about to suggest that they split up as she bursts out of the floor, with her like one good claw. And well, it was a hand. Now it's just this claw bursting out of the ground. And now she is solid. She's corporeal. She's extremely fast, extremely strong, but she's also like bony and like kind of elongated and twisted in rage. But they can, now that she's solid, they can see all these details. And she slams into, and this is where you brought up the shield. She slams into Harry's shield as she rockets towards him, causing the shield that would normally stop a bullet to explode and send him absolutely flying. Sends her back a bit too, but not nearly as ragdoll as him. And that starts off the combat. And as soon as Harry kind of like composes himself, he gets him back on his feet with his blasting staff, very much like old man style, like he hears hellhounds howling in the distance, and he is just kind of filled with dread of the hounds of his godmother. He's also remarks of how fast she found them, which was kind of crazy. And where Marster screams, this part is unnerving. Oh yeah, it's absolutely like, it's very unnerving. Because she I think she dips a little bit back into the nursery rhyme, but she's also just like screaming in madness of like her husband or killing her husband, that they won't take her babies from her. Like she's just manic all over the place. Oh yeah, I wrote down because of the hellhounds, because Harry says, "Holy shit, hellhounds!" And how does she find us so fast? And Michael's like, I hate it when you curse. He's like, "Oh, sorry. Holy shit, heckhounds."
That was hilarious to me.
I loved that part so much. Oh, the mine. Yeah. I also think Marston, this was a little thing, and I may be wrong about this. Back in the nursery, she says, or maybe it's here, I don't remember where. No, it's back in the nursery. She said that I gave my Benson 20 whacks. No, what was the line? It was something like that, where it was like she's. Oh, that's what it was. I gave my Benson 20 wax. There was a repetitious word that she said 3 times in the first line, and then the second line she says it only once, and Marston read it 3 times, so it actually sounded like a poem. And I was like, that didn't read the same way in the book that Marston said it. And I was like, that was a really nice little bit that he added in. Might be totally wrong, but I think when I was reading through the book to write notes after listening to Marston, I was like, I remember him saying this differently. Anyway, just a nod to Marston, his awesome voice acting ability. Would you call reading an audible book voice acting?
Yes,
I would. Yeah, you're good.
At the beginning of the book, the author Jim Butcher remarks, and says you won't be here because of Marston's performance, essentially. So
yeah,
because he does such a good job.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. For some of them, yes. I think for Marston and his performance in this book so far, it's absolutely voice acting. And that's a good point, because I feel like some book readings, no shade intended, but some aren't very good, and I wouldn't consider those like voice acting if you're just reading it like in your own voice.
I guess some books would require more of a tone that way. Maybe they wanted it read that way,
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, that's true. Maybe, yeah. Maybe it's by design. Absolutely. That's totally fine. But his was a performance for sure. I forgot about that that little bit from Jim Butcher at the beginning too. That was really nice. Anyway, I completely derailed. Where was I? Yeah, so the heckhounds. And this Harry remarks again, there's not much in the never that he would fear, but his godmother he absolutely does. So, which just kind of paints more of a ominous picture about her.
Yeah.
But they don't get to think and remark about it for very long, because as Harry tells Michael that there's good news and bad news, and the good news is that Agatha no longer is going after the kids. Bad news is they're probably going to die in the next couple seconds. And she comes hurtling towards them. Harry grapples with her for a bit. Michael swings at her with Amaracus and just gets backhanded, and he rockets off in the distance, which in my brain was very like anime style. And then Michael and her grapple. He tries to fire off his blasting rod, but it goes wide and sends... Oh, by the way, the turn of the 19th century Chicago. If you're not familiar with Chicago fires, it's a really bad fires that went through Chicago. I don't know the year exactly, but Harry remarks that no wonder this place went up like a tinderbox, because everything's made of wood, and it's same thing in here as well. So his blasting rod hits a building or something and immediately sets it on fire, and there's fire spreading everywhere. But they grapple. She goes to bite him, and he's able to like kind of shove one of his rods in her mouth, and I think she does clamp down on his arm. And he takes a pretty nasty bite, if I remember correctly. But either way, he's kind of in a bad way, and Michael gets the opportunity. doesn't he shove the dust in her mouth?
Oh, I'm
I
not
think he does.
sure. She starts trying to bite for his throat, and I'm not sure.
Either way, that doesn't do her in. I think he shoves the dust in her mouth and like kind of locks her for a moment. But either way, Michael hacks at her with Amaracus in the back, which as soon as it touches her flesh, just like she bursts into flames and ignites her. But it doesn't like, it's not like instant woof, and she's just gone. It kind of is like more of a slow burn, and they get a look in the wound where he cut, and there's this gnarled barbed wire twisting around inside of her and just digging in. It goes like all the way up from her head down to one of her ankles and then goes back into her. So like it looks like the wire's like coming out of her and then like wrapping around her body and then going back into her. But it's under the skin, which they remark is like, well, no wonder she went mad. Like this would torture anything. But also they come to the conclusion that this was intentionally done by someone.
And they wouldn't have seen it unless they went into the Never Never, probably. And he's like, "Oh,
Yep.
see, Lord."
Which I wonder if that means that someone did it in the Never Never, or if it just was magically done to the point where that they just wouldn't have seen it unless they were in here.
Yeah, I have no clue on that one.
Yeah, hard to say, and without more
Second
information.
side up. Ooh, good point. Because you could see things.
Yes, exactly. October 8th to I knew the fire lasted multiple days. I just didn't know how many. But it was, according to Looney, 1871, October 8th through the 10th. Thank you, Lunas. But yeah, they vanquished Agatha Hagglethorn. I really like that name. Just a fun name. Yeah.
Miss
Fun name.
Hagglethorn.
Hagglethorn. But yeah, and they attribute this to being why there was an increase in restless spirits. They recuperate, and Michael and Harry recuperate. They start making their way to the portal that's waiting for them to get back to the hospital. When they notice that those hounds, they're not howling anymore. It is eerily quiet, which kind of puts hairs up on Harry's neck. And as they come into view of the rift, or the portal, or whatever you want to call it, they see Harry's godmother, which is described in a very interesting. Oh, her and like I think there's three black figures by her feet, which are the hellhounds.
And she's like super beautiful and an unaging.
She is and she isn't. She's got that kind of like very creepy, scary beauty. Because you're right. He says like beautiful skin. She has reddish hair. She's tall, slender, unhumanly beautiful.
Yeah. High
cheekbones, blood red lipstick, which is all like in my mind. It's kind of like Bianca. Like she's beautiful, but there's something off about her.
Yeah.
Oh, and golden eyes. Yeah, golden eyes with vertical pupils like cats, which is I feel like the most unsettling part.
Yeah, very unsettling.
And we learn her name, her first name at least, Leah. I don't think he gave her last name, not that I saw. But Leah, his godmother, and she says, "Hello, son," and it ends the chapter with Harry saying, "Hello, godmother," and that's it. And I was like, no, that is not it. I must read more. I didn't read more because I didn't want to accidentally spoil stuff. But
that was a hard stopper. Yeah, I was like,
that was a hard stop.
Fine. Lame.
They talked about how someone had to do this to her.
The barbed wire. Yeah, and
yes.
Hell yeah. And Harry is like, yeah, it definitely seems like somebody did this to drive her crazy. So all these ghosty things could be caused by somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it also like I assume we're kind of stretching a little bit here, maybe. I assume the person on the phone that said we will see each other again is that person. Also, because they said again, they have met somewhere before, or at least they know of each other. So there's a whole lot of things like, okay, well, who could that be? Now granted, we as viewers or readers have a limited selection. Like, it would have to be someone from one of the previous books, or it could just be from someone who was in Harry's past that we don't know of. So
yeah, I think it's going to be a new villain of some sort.
I think you're right. The other villain that it could be would be Victor, and he's really dead. I don't think he's coming back, so I don't know though.
And in the last book, he was remarking how Victor had to be trained by somebody, the belts had to be given by somebody. So again, we've got this mysterious figure in the back,
and that person seems to really want Dresden out of the way. I think maybe at this point it's gotten to desperate measures that person's just going to deal with it themselves. Well, I guess they're not. If this is the same person, they're not really dealing with it themselves because they're enraging spirits to try and do it. So I don't know.
Guess we'll find out.
Lap up those breadcrumbs every chance we can.
Delicious.
Delish. But yeah, I mean, what did you think of I think this book has started off so well. I'm trying to think from the first two books. I mean, both the first and second book started off really strong and really well. I think this one's better. I think this one has a much better hook to it, to hook the reader in initially, which might be why people think it's where it really pops off or starts to pop off. Maybe that comes later. I don't know. We're excited for you to get to this one. Yeah, no, I'm loving it. I think it's absolutely great. I now just realized I misspelled Blue Beetle in my notes. I'm gonna try and refine my notes. They weren't as I don't know, detailed as they normally were. So, but what'd you think? Do you like it? You like the book?
Oh yeah, of course. Like, I mean, this is just a little start, just a little piece, and it's already interesting. So it's just like the other ones. I just want to read further and figure out what's going on and what's happened.
I was saying I think this is a better start than the first two books.
A good start, yeah, for sure. This is the best start, I think, for sure.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, that wraps it up. Beetle? No, I misspelled blue. I just didn't put a U in there. BLE. I just missed the U. But hey, I was typing on a laptop that I don't normally type in, and if I type on like these two keyboards, this keyboard's my favorite. It's a Corsair K Silent series. And then I have like a $5 keyboard beside me. However, you know how your backspace button is like triple the size of a normal key? This keyboard's not. It's the same size as a normal key. So like your K key is the same size as the delete key, which messes up my finger placement so bad.
That's weird.
But yeah. Anyways, derailed a little bit.
Beautiful. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we're still on for next weekend, right? I don't think I have anything planned from my side, so. All right,
I'll let you know if I do, but I don't think so. So
sounds good.
Should be a
Thank
nice
you guys for hanging out.
Weekend.
Thanks, everybody. I should do the normal plug. If you want to follow along with us, join the Discord. There's a section for it. You can ask questions. Be here next Saturday. We're still good for tomorrow for a duo stream, right? Not tomorrow. Yeah. Sorry, Monday. Not tomorrow. Sunday. Monday.
I do need to take my son to a doctor's appointment. But it should be late enough that we can do at least a few hours.
Okay. Do you want to do?
But I might have to leave like an hour earlier.
Okay, that's fine. Do you want to do Remnant or do you want to do Gray Zone?
Kind of want to do more Gray Zone.
That's fine.
Really enjoying that.
I'm okay either way, so I figured I'd leave it up to you.
I do really like Remnant, but man, I feel like I need to be taught, and if I can get some valuable Mozzie teaching in there, it would be helpful because I'm just like I got a gun, and I guess I'll go shoot some people.
That game is pretty complicated. Okay, then we'll be back on Monday with Gray Zone Warfare and a week full of streaming stuff, which I will post tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you again. Thank you, Zeno. As always, it's a pleasure. Alrighty, take care, everyone. Bye.
See you guys.